Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're all joining. I think a large part of the population is from the US, so it's good evening.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Um, and that's Dr. Akshita. Um, Before we get started, I would like to thank all of you who have been supporting us through this CAPID Pathfinder series. We've been doing this for the last 2 months and hoping to do a few more before the cycle actually kicks in. And it's been extremely gratifying to have people like Dr. Akshita, successful candidates who've been through the grind once, sometime twice before, coming and sharing their experiences with you, with us. And you know how much ever experience we have and pass it on, there's nothing like hearing from the horse's mouth. Dr. Akshita, I'm not calling you a horse, but
That's okay.
um, you know, it's nice to hear from people who've been there, done it. And Dr. Akshita is one of those enterprising people. I don't have to give too much of an introduction. I will leave that to Dr. Akshita. You will, over the course of the next 1 hour, you will get to know her more and the journey that she's had to withstand to get here and inspire you all as well. Dr. Akshita, over to you. You can probably give a brief intro about your profile back home, your journey here, and then we'll probably address some of the questions we've already received, and then eventually we'll throw the floor open for
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
Mm. First of all,
Okay.
thank you so
Showtime.
much, Meenakshi and Caapid Simplified, and such a great initiative that you guys are doing. And to introduce about myself, my name is Dr. Akshita Parlawar. I did my BDS from Varda, Maharashtra in 2023, May 2023. So I'm a recent graduate, and this was my first cycle. Uh, to get into nitty-gritties, my GPA was 4.0 in during my BDS. I had TOEFL score of 109. So after graduating in 2023 May, I gave my INBT in December 2023, and that was the first time when I came for shadowing. I had 1 month of shadowing during that time, and then in April, because some family reasons, I couldn't give my TOEFL in January and February. I gave it in April, so I applied a bit late. I applied it on 28th, to be exact, on 28th of April, and my Kira in NYU was on 14th of May. But the first and by that time, first and second candidates day was already announced on 12th of May. But I gave it later on, so I was invited in the third candidates day, and I also got an invite from Nourah, and I was also invited at I have also given Columbia's Kira, and I was selected in NYU. But later on, I was first waitlisted at Nourah as well. But later on, I got acceptance at Nourah, so I had two acceptances, and from Columbia, it was just a Kira. So yeah, that is my journey, and this was my first site. This was
Amazing.
yeah.
So, a first timer with just about a month's shadowing experience in the US, correct? You came back to India after your INBD and shadowing.
Yeah,
I think
I came back.
that answers a lot of questions. And so, this without the question popping up, it already answers a lot of other questions. She submitted her application on 28th April, and she already got called for her first round key. I mean, she got her first level Kira interview on 14th May. So 28th April is not last, is not late, but
No.
we would always suggest yes.
Yeah, I would suggest like don't
Hmm.
do it, don't do it the way I did it. It was a huge risk on my side, but I would suggest like there is no particular thing that or mold where you should fit in. Like things are flexible, but also you have to be careful. I would suggest like apply early in March, but it wasn't my case. Like it was completely different. I gave my TOEFL in April, so I had to apply it. But yeah, it is like
Yeah,
not
to
everything depends on that. Yeah.
Correct. To reiterate, March is good, early April is good, but that does not mean
Yeah,
late April and mid May, your applications will not be considered. Let the school take that decision. Obviously, the earlier we can apply, the better it is.
better
But
it is.
let that lingering doubt not remain in your mind. Oh, it's already April and it's already first week of May. Is it worth applying? No. Let the school decide. Take your shot if you can afford to do it.
Yeah.
Um, I also have another question. Um, you did say that you applied on 28th April and the first round of Kira invites got sent out on 12th May, and yours was in the third batch of Kira and
No,
candidates day, right?
no. Actually, Kira in at NYU, Kira is sent to everyone. Like
Correct.
it's not
Exactly.
like Columbia. Columbia
Correct.
sends to few, but at NYU, Kira is sent to everyone. So the day when you apply, after a week, like you get a Kira invite on the second day when you apply,
Hmm.
and you have to complete it within a week period or something like that. But you are called for candidates day because they have started this candidates day from last year. Before that,
Correct.
it was in person interview, and it was like one on one interview. But from last year,
Amazing.
they have started like not before mine. So they have
Yes.
started Candidates Day. During that, they just call you, they give you tour to their college, and they will ask you. They just want to know how are you as a person in and out. They just want to like to be very informal. I want to say like they want to just have a vibe check if you are fit in or not. And yeah, and during my time, it was a group interview. So we were in a group of eight, and there was one like faculty member and two other members from D2. So they had like a group interview for us.
Okay. And that brings me to the most often asked question. How was your Kira and how did you prep for it?
Honestly, I didn't prep for my Kira. Like I got intimidated by the fact that interview invites, candidates day invites were just sent 2 days before my Kira. They had three candidates day. So first and second candidates day invites were already sent out by 12th of May, and I was submitting my Kira by 14th of May. So I didn't prepare much. It is very simple, like template. Like they have a video, tutorial video. You just have to follow it. Our academics director Stacy Ripke has that video, and you have to just listen to it. And after they have a few questions, three questions, and you have to answer them in a span of 3 minutes, like one minute each. And yes, it is like you have to be yourself and you have to be logical at the same time. And they would just want to check how your English proficiency is and how are you as a person. Yeah, that's it. It's really simple. It's not
Okay.
very
Um,
difficult kind of thing, like which is hyped over generally, but it is simple.
I know it's been 8 months since your Kira, but do you recollect the questions and how you structured your answers?
Mm. uh, I don't remember exactly, but one of the question was like, can you explain about your leadership qualities?
Hmm.
So I explained about my like the stuff I did during my BDS. Like I was a part of a dance group, and during my internship, I was arranging few camps, and I explained about them like in a minute because they don't give much time. They just give you, I think, 30 seconds to prepare for it, and 1 minute to give the answer.
Correct. To
And you
add to
have just
her,
one shot.
exactly. To add to Dr. Akshita's response, you get 30 seconds after every Kira question to prep. So this is the 30 seconds that requires you to recap your experiences quickly. And the next 1 minute is for you to articulate it. How
Yeah.
best to do it? From our coaching experience, what we would generally recommend is incident inference. Show them an incident, like Dr. Akshita mentioned, her leadership roles, her dental camps organization. She was also a dance club leader, I believe. So these kind of experiences and what you learned from them, or how you executed a particular task and how you had to manage people. So this is the incident. I did this, and thus I'm showcasing my leadership skills. This is something that can be a winning combination, and you'll be able to do this succinctly in 1 minute. Okay.
Uh, I would
Yes,
like to
Dr.
add something to it. I just did one thing before starting my Kira. I noted down on a paper few incidences of my life, like leadership qualities and teamwork. You have to just recollect about some incidences. There must be some incidences in your life which you have done. Just have them in your mind, just have a rough idea. If they ask you something, you can frame them. But if you don't have anything in your mind and they suddenly ask you about it, then it becomes difficult to remember it and to articulate it in 30 seconds. So I would suggest have a bit of like rough idea about some stuff, like whichever situations you are going to explain. It can be uh, any simple situations, like how you managed to do some conference or anything like that, any of your videos or MDS experiences, but just have them at in back of your mind so that you can articulate more quickly.
Absolutely. So there are two, three ways you could do it. Some of us are still pen and paper people. We
Yeah.
could do that. The other thing that Dr. Nourah, our founder, swears by is a jam board. It's a big board where you pin memories as and when you recollect them, you just jot them down there. Okay. It can be just an incident that comes to your mind, or it can be something that you definitely want to talk about and can shape your narrative accordingly. So these are things that you can make a mental note of and then make either a jam board or just a pen and paper kind of setup, or even a Word doc, whatever works for you.
Yeah,
But
whatever works for you. Yeah.
basically, bottom line is make note so that on the day of the actual interview, you're not surprised. And an out of place tidbit, this will help you not only for your interview. This is something we suggest right from writing your statement, and in case you need to provide inputs for your recommenders, then for your LORs, and even for your supplemental answers. Okay, can I field one more question, Dr. Akshita?
Yeah, sure.
There are, we have another frequently asked question, and that is about TOEFL. How
Mhm.
would you recommend, or what sort of TOEFL prep guides would you recommend? 109 you said, and 109 is a good score, amazing score. So do you have any inputs for our applicants?
Mm, Frankly, uh, I have used one application. I don't remember exactly the name. I think it was Test Glider, if I'm not wrong.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I used that application for, I think, 1 week or 2 weeks. From there, and for writing section specifically, there are templates for it. People say that they don't work, but you have to create your own templates, I would suggest. I created my own templates after reading quite few of them. And even for speaking, like it's true that templates are like very generic, so create your own. What I did is I created my own template for speaking section as well, because it is again like Kira.
Mm,
You have only 10 seconds or 20 seconds, something like that, and you cannot figure it out everything like on the spot. So I just had a mental map of everything. I just had to put it in I had just had to fill in the blanks. It was
mm,
like that. And my listening was good, always good. So I got like 30 on 30 on that. So best scoring part is, I would say, the listening section and the speaking section. Reading is the hardest, and writing is what you already know. You cannot much develop into it, because I feel like writing section, to develop it, you need to have like more practice. So you can improve in reading section by solving many like passages, but listen, if you score more in listening and speaking, then you are sorted. if you score 30 on 30 over there, then it automatically goes over 60. So it is the best scoring part. And in reading, you have to practice a lot. So that's where Test Glider helped me. And I think Test Glider was the name, or Test My Test. I think one of the both. I
Best
don't
my
exactly.
test. Yeah.
I don't remember which one because there were many. I think it was Best My Test. So I found their like reading section very useful.
Got it. And like Dr. Akshita says, each one will have his or her own strengths. So identifying your strength area and your weakness area and working on the weakness, I think that's a key point, key takeaway from her tips on TOEFL. And I'll be sending across a blog link that we have activated. It has extensive resources and tips from people like Dr. Akshita who have been there and scored well, and the tips that they have shared with us. Okay, I'm going to cycle back to NYU. Dr. Akshita, can you tell us a little more about NYU? How does the cohort look? What is it that NYU actually looks at when calling people?
Yeah, so I feel NYU is among those few colleges who likes to have diverse population, and they don't feel like we have to take two people from India, three people from Pakistan, four from Egypt. It's not like that. My class, out of 45, we have 30 Indians. So you can guess from that that they look into your profile more than from where you are coming. So it is like I feel it was very beneficial for me being an Indian, because it's a like for Indians it's really competitive out there. So that's why I liked that part of NYU, and the faculty is really friendly and reachable. They will communicate to you at like any hour. If you email them, like I have emailed many of them at midnight, and they have emailed back to me as well with the response. So faculty is really nice over here, and they look into your personality. That's what I felt. The main ideology behind candidates day was they want to check if how you are as a person in and out. They didn't ask us the formal interview question. They didn't ask us like for my group at least, they didn't ask me tell me about your research experience or blah blah. They asked me like what do you like to do in your free time, tell me about yourself. And my interview was completely on tell me about yourself. So I was just speaking on it. So it was like it was a really chill kind of interview from what I have given earlier at Nourah. It was more of professional kind of interview. This is also professional, but like they want to ease you around. The right from the moment when you enter the building, they will let you know that don't get pressured. They will make you play games as well during your candidacy. There is, I don't remember the game name. It's like American app. So they make you play on that game, online game, and they make you feel comfortable. And after that, after you have a brunch kind of a sort of thing, they will take you to the conference room, and there you will be sitting with 8 people. I don't know how it is going to go in this year, but during my year it was like a group interview. Last year it was one on one. So yeah, it was pretty chill, and I liked the overall experience at NY. They want different kind of people. Like in my class, I have recent graduates. I have people who are above, like highly experienced. I have people who are in, like I was on visitor visa. So you visitor visa people can relate with me that we feel like where we won't be getting invites and no one will take us, but it's not like that. That's what I'm saying. There is no perfect mold for it. I have a few like 4 or 5 classmates, colleagues of mine who are on visitor visa, and some of them are have done their MPH, some have done preceptorship, some have 10 to 15 years of experience back in India or back in their home country. So they want different kind of people. They also prefer research oriented people. They also prefer the clinically oriented people. That's what I liked about NYU. They are not focusing on one particular factor. They want all the diversity. So
Amazing. That actually answered a number of our questions
yeah,
lingering in the minds of a lot of our applicants. Is visitor visa okay? I do not have experience. I have a master's in the US. Does this work? Does NYU need this? This also applies to a lot of other schools, not just NYU.
yeah, lot of other schools, but in my experience, I'm telling about NYU from what I have
Absolutely.
experienced. Yeah, from what I have experienced, and I know I was in your shoes, guys, so I know what everyone was telling me at that moment, that you won't get in. You are on the, like, some people told me that visitor visa people don't even land up into interviews, but it's not like that. You get it, you get invited, you will also be selected. So don't worry, there are many schools out there, and it's not like this school you are not fit for this school. It's not like that. Maybe your profile is something different from what they want. It's not that you are not having a perfect profile. It's not like that. Maybe you are correct from other school, not this school. So you just have to find your right school, so you will eventually land up there. Just keep trying, don't lose your hopes. It's easy to get lost in this process. Just don't get lost. Just keep in your mind that I will get in eventually, and keep trying.
Okay. That leads that to summarize your it was more like a motivational coaching session as well. Thank you so much for that.
I didn't mean to
And to
do that, but
summarize
yeah.
that, no, it's very useful, and the applicants will say that to you sometime later. To summarize, all sorts of profile, diverse and interesting experiences, and a holistic perspective. These are the things that schools usually look out for in a profile. This is what we tell our applicants as well. There is no one size fits all or one profile fits all kind of logic when it comes to CAPID applications. Uh, and since Dr. Akshita, you did touch upon MPH and research, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that we've received regarding these. I know that you're a fairly fresh grad who got into NYU in her first cycle, but in your experience, you've also interviewed at Columbia, Kira at Columbia, and interviewed at Nova, right? So, do you think that a master's could be an MPH or an MHI gives you a distinct advantage, or your cohort? Do you think it has given them a distinct advantage? And should people be doing it just so it'll get them an easier route into CAPID?
Honestly speaking, I don't feel like that, because
Hmm.
my colleagues are, as I've mentioned, one of my closest friend, she is from India. She has experience. She was on visitor visa. She got interviewed at SIU, and she was even accepted at SIU, because SIU six, like, people have heard like this sort of colleges, like they have only 6 to 7 seats, so they are really competitive. She was on visitor visa, still she got in. And one of my friend, she has done MPH, she has landed into multiple interviews. It's not like that, like one size fits all, as you have mentioned. It totally depends. You have to analyze your own profile, I would say, what lacks in your profile, what you feel like. Like, many people think, I want to come to US, so I will do MPH. But are you really interested in doing MPH? Because it will show while you go to an interview. And they are really good at it, to finding out, like, if you really wanted to do it, or just for the sake that you wanted an F1 visa, so you did an MPH or MHA and you came over here. That should show in your interview. Like, I was interested in research from my school days. So I started from my second year. I have a clinical trial registered and published under my name. So they asked me, uh, did you do anything apart from like this? So I told about my research experience, and they saw that I was really interested in doing research experience, because after I got accepted, I spoke to uh, the faculty member who interviewed me. She remembered me through my research experience. When I went there, she said, "Yeah, I remember you. You had a clinical trial, right?" So she remembered me from there. So they look into that. You have to show whatever you do, you have to show you should be having that interest, not for the sake of getting into DTS you are doing it. It should have a meaning. So I don't feel like it is really compulsory. But if you feel like you have to do it, if you feel your GPA is low and you want to improve it, you can come here. And if you are interested in like that health management and MPH, then you can come here and have a better GPA in that. You can do that way as well, or you can do preceptorship, and in that you can have an experience, or else you can just simply do shadowing. It doesn't matter. Like for me, I feel you have to just analyze your own profile. It is more important than following what the herd is following. If the herd is going towards MPH and you are going towards MPH, then it doesn't make any sense, because there will be room full of MPH. It's not like that. Not you. You are not only doing it. So just have that thought about it, and then you proceed. If you feel it is right, then you can do it, but not that for the sake everyone is doing. That I was.
So, in a nutshell, Dr. Akshita is saying, analyze your own strengths and be true to yourself. Do not follow the herd and do things just for the sake of doing it.
Mhm.
And that also brings us to another important question. How do you portray your true self? This is where we would recommend using your documents to the utmost, be it your statements, be it your letters, be it your supplemental answers. You have to bring forth those planters, what actually showcase your strengths, your personality, and also leave that recall value. I think Dr. Akshita mentioned that an a faculty member came back and spoke to her about her research experience, right? So in her case, this was the planter that she left, both in her statement and her interview session, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
That leads us to a very, very often asked question. Dr. Nidin, I know that you have a question. I'm reading right next to it. Give me a couple of minutes, we'll be there. Statement. What do you think is a good statement? How do we structure it, Dr.
Uh,
Akshita?
yeah. For me, I have just followed. I have been truthful to myself. I didn't follow anything fancy template or anything like that. I first drafted my first SOP. Then I made my friends to read it. I didn't add anything sob story, because let's be real, they read more than 1,000 applications. So from the first paragraph itself, they know that you are faking it. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. This is the biggest mistake. Just be truthful to yourself. I'm not saying you can add a bit of drama in it, not more, but just a little bit. But don't exaggerate things. Just keep it simple and elegant, and it should be attractive while reading. Whoever is reading your SOP, he or she shouldn't lose the interest while reading it. So whenever you take feedback from your friends, just show it to those kind of people who are non-biased, so they will give you an honest opinion from the like the way you have written it. But yeah, be truthful to yourself. Add the incidences which you have felt have changed your life. Like I have added 2 or 3 incidences where I felt like this have changed my personality, so I have added them. And yeah, anyways, it is
Amazing.
like a short one, so you have to compress everything in. Uh,
Absolutely. I second that thought. As writers and coaches, this is exactly what we recommend. Incidents. Pepper your statement with at least 2 or 3 incidents that showcase your personality, that showcase your skills. It could be a patient experience, it could be something that was life altering, something that your family or your faculty told you, and how you've put that to use in your life. An ideal structure would be start off with a hook, talk about a life changing incident or just an interesting anecdote to begin with. It could be a quote that you've lived your life by, something that says, dream big, opportunities will come your way, or opportunities, if you don't find them, then create them. And then thread your entire story in line with that central theme. Or it can just be a couple of paragraphs which talk about, this is what I've done, and show the incident, and then talk about what you've taken away from that incident, how you've learned from a mistake, and then the next year you've changed and you've implemented the changes that you've learned. And then eventually position yourself as how you're a good fit for dentistry in the US. Talk about why dentistry in the US. But if you do not have a strong reason, then you don't have to go on and about how the technology is great. They know it. So, what you need to do, again, bottom line, be true to yourself, but show incidents instead of just making it a CV narrative or a general story. Don't make it a sob story. And if you can add incidents, make it memorable in their account, then out of 1,000 odd applications that they receive, you might stand out. And on that note, we're also going to one more question about letters. Dr. Nidin, would you be able to unmute and ask this question to Dr. Akshita herself instead of me being your conduit?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Nidin.
Hi, MS, how are you?
Good.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Akshita. Hi, everyone.
I'm doing good. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. So my question is regarding LOR. So today, one of my friend, he actually told me that you know what, NYU needs 3 letters from your college, as in from your professors. And then I was like, last cycle when I applied, I never had a 3 LORs from my college. 2 was from my college, and then one was from my clinic where I work. But I did go to the website, ADA website, and then they clearly mentioned that you need 3 letters of recommendation from your college professors, and then it has to be directly uploaded to ADA-CAAPID, and it's on the website. That's why I'm confused right now. Did you get the 3 LORs, or did you do any workaround? How did you go about it?
Okay. So I have uploaded actually 4 LORs for my employee. So this was special for NYU. While in my CAPID, I only applied it 3 LORs. One was from my dean, one was from my faculty, and the other one was from the dentist over here in US. And the third one, apparently the third one was from a faculty member back from my college. So this happened in, I think, June, in the month of June, when in the CAPID groups, people were talking about if you should upload a 4th LOR or not. So at that time, I reached out to admission commission members at NYU, and I emailed them, and they were like, yeah, okay, it's fine with us if you want to send another LOR. So they sent me a link, and on that link I uploaded a 4th LOR of my faculty back from my college. So yeah, but it is
So
not given anywhere. I don't know if they have changed it this year, but last year it wasn't like that. They only needed 3 LOR, and the 4th one wasn't compulsory, wasn't mandatory one, but I uploaded it. But yeah, you can upload one from your dean, one from the faculty member, and one from the dentist or whomever you want to upload from United States or Canada.
So, and then the extra link which they provide, it'll go directly to the professor, right? If you want to do the 4th one,
Yeah,
right?
it will go to the professor.
Okay, because I'm good. I don't want to, again, bug my professor regarding a LOR. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 LOR from my professor and then one for my office where I work as an assistant. So that'll be fine, right?
You will be fine. You will be definitely fine because as I mentioned, it was an extra LOR. It wasn't required on the CAPID portal. I just uploaded it because the talk was going around. I just emailed them to be sure, and they said, if you want to send me, then this is the email address. You can send the link over that. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nidin, for the question. I think you've also raised the same question a lot of people have in their minds. the LOR combination. Ideally, the one thing that we would suggest is make a list of the schools that you are keen on applying to and accordingly pick your LOR combination. That said, the one combination that often is used and recommended and required is one letter from your dean, one letter from a faculty who knows you well, from your BDS preferably. If you're someone with a master's, then that could work as well. But some schools, Boston University, for instance, requires that it be a letter from the BDS professor. So you might also have to take a look at the nitty gritties of your choice of schools. And the third letter, preferably something from a Canadian or US dentist that you've assisted, ideally, or shadowed, as is applicable to you. So that is a combination that we've seen working well in the past. And if you do have a really strong recommendation letter, then feel free to email the schools that you're particularly fond of or very keen on and ask them how to upload it. If possible, get the recommender to upload it instead of you directly recommend uploading it. It gives a greater degree of credibility, somebody else uploading it on your behalf vis-a-vis you getting the letter and uploading it. So I think that has also answered a lot of questions on your minds. In the meanwhile, Dr. Akshita, do you have anything to add to that, or shall I take a question from Dr. Nitya Jha?
No, I think that sums up. Okay.
Okay, Dr. Nitya is asking if when we have an MPH, is it okay to take an LOR from a public health professional?
It is totally fine to take it from public health faculty as well. If at all you have a really good connection with the faculty, then he or she might be able to tell about your personality more into like details in the letter. So I would recommend you can go with the person with whom you have a better rapport. So it is according to my opinion and my experience what I've found from that. But some people even prefer to have a clinical professor or a doctor or dentist to have a to be your recommender. But I feel you should be getting your LOR from the person who knows you more. And if you have done or studied under that person, then it shouldn't be any difference. So I feel it's completely fine.
We agree as well. The bottom line is the recommender should be able to speak about your skills convincingly, and they should have the personal relationship to talk about it. So, but kindly ensure that there is at least one letter that talks about your clinical skills, because it's very, especially if you have an MPH, then, and if you're getting one letter from a public health professional, then ensure that at least one letter. Sometimes the dean could have also been a faculty from your BDS experience. So at least one letter, if it talks about your clinical skills, then I think you've scored right in your combination. And Dr. Neha has a similar question. She has an MPH and also works as lecturer in university. Can I have a fourth LOR from my Department of Public Health? Definitely yes, especially the fourth LOR. In addition to the other three LORs, which are going to talk about your clinical skills, the fourth LOR will talk about your public health planning, organizing, your community-focused initiatives, and also your teaching skills. So I think that's a good combo also. That's a valuable addition. Um, Dr. Mahima is asking if Dr. Mahima, do you want to unmute and ask this yourself? You're here, so.
Yeah, sure. So my question is, so we will be uploading, I mean, like if the faculty is uploading our LOR into the CAPID, does the CAPID send that to all the colleges that we selected, or do we need to apply individually to each colleges?
CAPID sends it to the colleges which you have selected. If you go to the CAPID portal right now as well, you will find, if you log in, you will find 4 sections in that. And the last section will be about the program directory. So you have to add programs in it, and particular program has different portal as well, but you need not to upload it separately on that. But you can upload it on CAPID, and they will directly send it to all the colleges. And if at all some colleges need it separately, then it will be mentioned on their site. I haven't applied to such colleges. I've applied to only those colleges which need which who took the LORs from CAPID itself. So I uploaded on CAPID, and the only college which I sent LOR separately was NYU, but that to my lecturer, my faculty sent it. So I wasn't the person to send the LOR. NYU sent the link to the faculty, and faculty uploaded it.
Got it. Thank you so much, Akshita. And one more question. So is it the same for the transcript too? Like the transcript will also be sent via CAPID application, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
got
few
it.
colleges need it. They will let
Mhm.
they will let you know. Like for INPT as well. If I'm not wrong, Tufts, UCLA, Columbia, they need it separately. I don't know which one, like INPT or TOEFL. I'm not remembering exactly, but they need it, and LLU as well. So they need it separately. They have a code, so you have to put that code on ETS website or on INPT ADA website, and they will directly send it to those colleges.
Got it. Thank you so much, Dr. Akshita. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So CAPID is a common portal, right? So whatever you send in or order in there is uniformly available to all the colleges that you have selected in your program list. And additionally, some schools will have requirements like LLU requires transcripts to be directly sent from the college, especially if you don't have WES evaluation. And so same with TOEFL. Some schools, in addition to the score and the CAPID portal report, they also need the actual report to be sent to them. So these are school specific, which you will know through the ADA CAPID Finder or the school's website. School's website is any day your first source of verification and information. Okay, this is a question. Dr. Dikshita's question is something that we often come across. I worked closely with one of my professor in BDS, but he recently left the college and practicing at his own clinic. So are there schools apart from NYU that ask LOR specifically from college letterhead? Dr. Akshita, you have any experience in this regard?
I would suggest that upload your LORs, which are on your college letterhead, if you are taking from the faculty member in the college. If that person is not in the college, then you can have his own letterhead and then upload. But it is your choice again, which kind of combination you are going into. If you want that person should be seen as a faculty member, then you have to go to a college and pick up a faculty member who is currently working over there, get the letter on the letterhead of the college, because it is more authentic, I think. So, but if you want that, you want an LOR from a person who knows you more, but he no longer works at the college, then you can take that LOR from him as well. But don't mismatch things. They know it. If you are scamming them, don't like take his LOR and put on the letterhead. They will know it. Don't do that, because few of my colleagues, they done like that because their college was no longer but like it was shut it down, so that's why they did like that. And Michigan, apparently they canceled their application overall. So don't do
I think the better choice here would be, irrespective of where your recommender is currently working, the best option would be to clearly explain the relationship in the first paragraph. Just put it out there. Yes, I knew this person when I was teaching in this particular college. Now I'm currently working here, but I remember this person from my association. I think that's a
better.
win-win for everyone.
Yeah, everyone. But don't mismatch things, like putting the letterhead on the faculty who is no longer working with it.
I think Dr. Akshita's entire discussion is centered around being truthful and being truthful to your
Yeah,
own self.
yeah.
I think
I
this is
think
the
that only
tagline of
works
this.
for me. That worked for me.
Okay. Dr. Anisha, you've raised your hand. You want to unmute and ask?
Yeah, thank you, Meenakshi. And Dr. Akshita, before I begin with my questions, I really want to say a thank you because your approach towards this application process has really calmed my nerves down because, like it's obviously very overwhelming when like get through this, but experiences like these, they really help you, like become at ease. And I have two questions for you. One is like it's a CV question. Um, is there a specific format that you followed? Because it's all over the place. Like your CV has to be like this, your CV has to has that. It has to have what all applications you're familiar with. Like what all softwares that dental offices use. Like, do you have to put that in? Like, I I I don't know if that's for somebody. Like, I have never been the person, who has gone forward and outside. Since I'm a recent graduate, I graduated in 24. So it's like kind of very overwhelming when people put it out there. Like, this is something that has to be mentioned. Like, they go on talking about, like, we have seen horrible CVs, they just have experience and stuff like that. Is there a specific template format? And what was your personal experience? How did you present it? If that's something you're comfortable answering.
So I know where this question is coming from because I've been in the same situation before. And to be really honest, mine was the simplest CV you will ever come across. It was nothing fancy. I just I was truthful in it. And mine, I had a research experience, so I explained about it, about my volunteering experience, which the organization I was associated with from past 6 to 7 years. I mentioned it, and I volunteered over here in US. So these things also matter, not only the technical stuff which people are talking about there. And one more thing, don't get confused. It is really easy to get confused among what people are telling you, like you need this, you need that. It's not like that. If it would have been like that, they wouldn't have chosen me because I haven't followed such things. I haven't followed. I just followed whatever is needed, like whatever the faculty or the school needs to know about you. You should know that. Then they should know where you have worked, what is your experience, and do you have any experience back in India? Do you have any experience in US? And if yes, what kind of experience? Do you have any research experience? If you don't have, don't mention it. I'm not saying research is important. If you are doing it, then mention it, because some people, like, they pay to people and they get the research thing done. I wouldn't suggest that, because these questions they ask these questions in interview, like, tell me about your research. So if they ask you, what you are going to say if you are not the first, or if you haven't worked at all on that research? So it will answer your question. If you have not done that stuff, don't mention it, because you never know. If you land up an interview, they look at your CV and they see that you have done this application. He or she might ask you, have you done it? Please explain me about the software. So, and
Yeah,
this
That,
happens, trust me,
yeah,
this happens.
this this is very, very true of especially open book interview schools, Buffalo, Temple, to name a few. They are very keen on what is being mentioned, and they would be able to smell a loophole from miles
yeah,
away. And we should be in a position to answer any question put to us. If it comes naturally to us, well and good. Otherwise, if you're like me and cannot fib your way through things, then we would completely recommend being true to yourself. And on that note, other than for the specific things that a school says is mandatory, everything else is open ended. For instance, when it comes to a CV, definitely your experiences matter, home country experience and your US experience. If it's only shadowing, let's not call it assisting. If it's only shadowing, then let's call it as shadowing. And whatever we've done, let's be truthful and disclose it, is what our recommendation has always been. And what constitutes a good CV is another question we've often fielded in the past. Experiences, dental, non-dental related, you may have healthcare related, you may have teaching experience. Go ahead,
You
feel
mentioned
free.
COVID
Absolutely. When it comes to health related, non-dental, it could be COVID, for instance. Then, of course, teaching experience, a few of us might have. Volunteering experiences. Let's not make it a complete recitation, but let's try and include, especially if someone has a lot of experience, then let's try and include significant ones that will appeal to the school and also speaks to your strengths and your interest areas. And research and publication, like Dr. Akshita said, if you have, obviously we will disclose it. But in the absence of some such thing, there is no necessity to go, out of your way to claim what you don't actually have. That is one thing. And the other thing is it should also be commensurate with your experience. Someone who's a fairly fresh grad having a 4-page CV with a lot of experiences or a lot of details in the experiences might come across as a little fluffed up, or you're overcompensating for something else. So a 2 to 2.5 page CV, which succinctly describes your role, your strengths, what you're good at, I think that should be sufficient.
I would like to add in this, your CV and your SOP, everything should be in one page. Everything should narrate one single story, not different.
Amazing. Yes.
Only one story. Okay. You have to switch from here to there, and you have to check multiple times if this is coinciding with this or not, because knowingly or unknowingly you can make mistakes. It happened with me. I wasn't intending to, but some of the timeline and the things which I mentioned into SOP weren't coinciding. So you have to check whenever you complete your SOP or your CV, just check that if it is having a same tone or not, or same wavelength, like how you have mentioned everything. And you can also mention your poster presentations. I mentioned that, yeah, or poster presentation, paper presentation, because they tell about your leadership qualities, your auditing skills, and what else I mentioned. Yeah, I've mentioned about the medical experience. In that, I have explained about my COVID experience, and I've done a few C courses as well, hands-on courses. I have mentioned them in my CV as well. So my CV was simple. It was like my US experience, my home country experience, and if I had research experience, so I showed my research experience. I had 4 studies going on at that point of time, and one was published, one was into the publication, 3 were under study. So it was actually 5. So 5 publications. So I mentioned the whole process as well in that thing. Like it is into publication, it is accepted into this journal, it will be published in this month or somewhat like that. But if you are into publication, just make sure the PubMed indexed publications are more valued over the others. Just don't publish it in any random journals just for the sake of doing it. I would suggest, like when I mentioned like my publication is in PubMed indexed article, she was impressed right away. So you have to put it in that way, and like that article required 4 years of my life. So she knew like how I went there. If you show it like you did study last year and it is into PubMed index, she will know what you
Yes, exactly. That does make sense.
don't do that blunder. And you can include your CE experiences, like CE courses, whatever you have done. I would suggest do Colgate courses. You can include them as well. If you feel that you can add them, then you can add them. Yeah, because there is a section in CAPID as well. where you can write about your continuing education thing. I think, yeah,
Mhm.
where you can mention.
There's no direct place, but
No
what you
direct place,
can
yeah.
do is, the
Yeah.
other relevant information
Mm.
in the supporting information section, you have a tab called other relevant information. That is one place you can make good use of when it comes to disclosing CEs, because everything else can be included: research, publications, conferences. All these have specific
Yeah.
experiences or achievement section. But
Yeah.
CEs, ideally, especially if you have done notable ones, they should at least go under the other relevant info section.
But few colleges are there
Hmm.
who ask for your C.
Buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember, but they ask for your C courses list, so there it will be helpful. So they are just free maybe C courses on Colgate, so you can keep doing them and have those available at your hand, and you can just upload them while you are uploading your CAPID to particular colleges, whichever need them.
Yes, that was really helpful, Dr. Akshita. The next question I have is like a follow-up question. Uh, which you already answered like a little bit. So you said that you had in your CV, you had sections like US experiences, experiences from India, and then you had the research section. Is there anything relevant that you would want me to, like focus on? Like, is there any other like subheading that, is relevant to the CV part
Volunteering
that you would
experience.
suggest? Volunteering. So, so that's how you, layer your CV.
Mm.
I'm just, like a lot of feedbacks from a lot of people have just really confused me, like how to put a CV. Like I was initially very confident, like how I presented my CV, but then like I got so many feedbacks. They say that, like it is to be structured in experiences, volunteering, and this and that. And then I get a fresh perspective. After a few days, it says that it has to be listed like US experiences, Indian experiences, and then so what I was going for is like, is there any specific template or you just do you?
You
That's
just do
what.
it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That really helps. Thank you so
Uh,
much.
to to add to Dr. Akshita's statement, I have put out a basic structure that could help you, but
Mhm.
focus on your strengths. Ideally, US experiences, especially dental experiences, should take the lead, and then showcase your clinical strengths, and then whatever is your strength. If research and publication is your strength, like in
Mhm.
case of Dr. Akshita, she had 4 or 5, then ideally that would have been the next thing she would have wanted to discuss.
Yes.
So if volunteering experiences are a little lesser than other experiences, that can go a little below. There are schools which have specific templates like UW, Washington, University of
Mm.
Washington,
Yeah.
UNLV,
UNLSB. Yeah.
UOP. UOP's is a very extensive CV, but you can
Detailed.
also, yeah,
Detailed. It's really
it
detailed.
asks for every single detail. You can also take a look at these CVs and take inspiration, but on the whole, ensure that your dental experiences in the US and your home country, then non-dental healthcare experiences, and your strengths. If research is your strength, then research. If volunteering and community service is your strength, then that. All these find a place, but succinctly. Okay.
I would
I
suggest
hope.
that
Hmm.
focus more on the dental part because you are applying for DDS. So
Yes.
that experiences should be like Meenakshi mentioned, they should be on the top and then the other ones because it shouldn't feel like you are focusing on extracurricular. I have also mentioned my extracurricular activities, but it was on the bottom part of
Bottom.
my CV. Yeah.
And
So please,
especially if you, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, it's okay. Yeah, I'm done.
Especially for people who have MPH or MHI and have experience, work experience in that sphere. And I would still suggest what Dr. Akshita mentioned. Focus on your dental experience. And it's good to showcase all that you've done, but ensure that the focus is still on dentistry. If your research and health informatics are related to dentistry, then that's a no-brainer. You can shift focus as well. I mean, not shift focus, you can split focus. Okay. I hope that answered all your questions, Dr. Anisha.
Thank
Nidhin, do you
yes,
still
thank you
have
so much.
questions or You still have questions? I see your hand raised, or should I move
I have a
on to?
question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so Abbas, is it okay if I ask him some questions about lending? Like how if somebody got acceptance and then how we go about it, like in terms of lending from a bank and whatnot.
Loans.
Yeah, loans, yeah.
Yes, you can. You can. And after that, I'll take a few more questions and then we can wrap up. No problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if you get an acceptance from NYU, how long we have like after acceptance, in order to get the loan and everything started going? And what is the time frame that we're looking at?
They sent out acceptances in September first week. So we were asked to do our first deposit of $5,000 in the period of 1 week of getting that 2 weeks of getting accepted, $5,000. So just to confirm you were sick. And after that, to pay your first year's tuition fee, they gave us till January 3rd. Our start date was January 2nd. But myself, I like they even extend that time frame for like 10 to 15 days. But usually it is like on the first month of your start date. So yeah, you will be getting around 3 to 4 months roughly.
If you want to get the loan from a specific bank, if you're not a citizen of US, do you know anything? How do you go about it? Like if you're from a different country, if you're from India, from Canada, do what is the best option that you can do? Anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. So in my case, I have taken loan from India, and half of the money is from India, and half of the money is my parents are financing half of the tuition fees. And few people take it from US itself who are citizens, so they take from Citizen Bank, for instance. And few of them who are not being able to claim loans in India, India or their home country, they can take it from US itself, from banks like Prodigy. But the interest rates will be higher, like around 12 to 15%, and it is flexible. It can be low as well according to your CIBIL score. So it depends totally on your CIBIL score. And yeah, there are other financing banks like Empower, I feel, but I'm not quite sure if they finance DDS. But Prodigy do finance DDS without a cosigner. But if you have cosigner, you can go for Citizen Bank and TD Bank. I think there are many such banks. So yeah.
Yeah, Empower and Prodigy without cosigners. You're right.
Mhm.
And then the cosigner should be from US or it could be from Canada. Does it really matter?
It should be from US.
It should be a US citizen, right? No.
As far as I know, it should be from US, and he or she should be a US citizen, not green card holder. Citizen.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thanks, Nidhi.
Uh,
Yes, Dr. Pehu, go ahead.
Yes, doctor. Regarding the same thing that Dr. Nidhin asked, I wanted to ask one more question. Is there any other specific requirement that they do have apart from the guarantor being US citizen? Like, does their credit score and other things also matter?
Yeah, definitely. Their credit score matters, and according to that, they will sanction your loan, and according to that, your interest rate is also decided. So it is don't think like if you have a cosigner, you will be getting a lower interest rate. It can be 10 as well. It can be 12 as well, according to your co-signer's credit score. So you have to explore all the option, but of course it is after getting acceptance, you can explore all the option. You will be having enough amount, like ample amount of time in your hands when you can. So don't worry about it right now.
Got you. Thank you so much, doctor.
Okay. Dr. Rucha has questions that are ideally worries right away. What questions were you asked in interviews regarding your research?
she asked me about, explain me about your research. So I was really interested in my research experience. So I explained everything from head to toe. So she was interested, and so I explained where I started. It took me 4 years, and I knew in and out about my research because I was the first and the sole author of my clinical trial. So I explained that, and she didn't ask me any follow-up question over that. It was, that's it. Like, she asked me the journal name, when, where it was published. That's it.
Great. Dr. Vidhi has a similar question, not a similar question, but an interview-centric question. How would you answer "tell me about yourself" question, dentistry related or include personal things too? And Akshit, I'll tell you this, I quote from memory, Dr. Akshita is good at this. Um Her "tell me about yourself" was quite memorable because I still remember it. Go ahead, Dr. Akshita.
Actually, I don't remember it right now, but I know somewhat I was framing it. I think I mentioned about my Spotify thing on it. Yeah. So during my NYU interview, I started my intro like, I am this, and during my free time, I like to go on bicycle rides, and at that time, I just want to plug in my Spotify playlist, and it is named Dash. You can you can subscribe to it, and I listen to those songs, and that's my stress buster. And after that, I mentioned about my experiences and everything, like in a short, like for 5 minutes. And this is what actually, this is what I did in my NYU interview as well. And
This is
everyone in
what you
the
did in
room
your
was
mock interview as well.
laughing, yeah,
Yes.
laughing at it, and like they really liked it. So, and I felt like everyone did that because you need to ease around the environment as well, because it is already stressful. So not only me, but all of, as it was a group interview, everyone did that. Everyone was telling about their hobbies. Like, some, there were so many talented people in my room. They were doing some craft work with glass or something sort of things. So they explained about it. Some were from Jaipur, so they mentioned I'm from the city of pink or something like that. So yeah, you can do like that, but it shouldn't be. It should have the balance. Not everything should be philosophical, but it should have a balance. You can ease around a bit. After that, you get to the point. So
Two things. One, I would recommend a mix of personal and dentistry, like Dr. Akshita suggested. And if you can, correlate these two. For instance, someone says, I'm crazy about sustainability. Okay, we did have one of our applicants, memorable applicants, who's crazy about sustainability, had a project initiated about upcycling, recycling. And then she also went on to correlate it with this is something I would like to implement in dentistry as well, making dentistry a lot more sustainable effort, minimizing use of single-use plastic, things like that. And it completely correlated with her personality and her focus on dentistry. So ideally, talk about who you are as a person and how has that shaped you as a dentist or helped you as a dentist and a professional. And if you can add interesting tidbits, but not everybody will have, like Dr. Anisha here, I think is a creative content. No, she's a designer, if I'm not wrong. So,
I am a creative head for a homegrown fashion clothing brand.
you can
correct.
definitely
So things
mention.
like that. Yeah. Things like that added to how you're a visionary, you like to design, whether it's smiles or clothes, you know, your interview's gone to the next level. This is very true in case of your statements and supplemental answers as well. Take instances from your personal life, see if you can correlate it with your professional life. That's it. And again, be true to yourself. That way, you will not be caught, you know, high and dry in case they have any further questions. Dr. Akshita, is there anything that you would like to add before we can wrap this up? And we're
Uh,
past our time, but is there anything that you would like to, especially as a first cycle admit, a successful candidate?
I just want to give my 2 cents. That is, don't stress out. Okay, it's really stressful journey. I know there was a point I almost gave up, but there were few steadfast pillars in my life. Always have those pillars in your life. You should have such people who will bring you back. So I didn't engage myself into this social media app or like groups where this information is circulated, because it disturbs your mind. So don't get diverted into it. Just know, just have that in your mind, what you want to do, what you want to achieve. And no matter, for me, this mantra has always worked. No matter how difficult it is, I am going to achieve it. No matter how much ever time it will take, I want to do that, because I cannot see myself doing any other thing than this. So it was my thing. So it always motivated me. And as I mentioned, people who were in my life, they really motivated me. They brought me back when I was at my lowest. So it's the difficult. It was one of the most difficult journey in my life. The past 1 year was the daunting experience, but it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. Trust me. When you are on the other side of this thing, you won't even recollect the miseries you have gone through, but you will recollect the memories, the experiences, what you have learned from the journey, and those will stay with you throughout the life. So it's just a phase, it will pass. Don't worry much. Just know what you have to do. And Meenakshi and Kripa, everyone is there. You can always take help from them if you feel that you are a bit lost somewhere. But yes, talk to people who know stuff. Don't. It is easy to get confused. So don't get confused. And yeah, don't lose hopes. Don't lose hopes.
That's an amazing 2 cents, really. And this is actually more applicable and more truer of people who are in their second cycles. Because
Mm.
first cycle, imagine if the first cycle is this daunting, the second cycle can only be a little more overwhelming. But be true to yourself. This is something I think was covered, or rather a takeaway from one of our previous webinars. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. You
Yeah.
know, you're really passionate about this. There is no way, it's very unlikely that this will not happen for you. I'm not trying to be just positive and be a ray of sunshine, but it's a question of when. And let the school take that call. As long as you can stay motivated and filter out thoughts, you know, you would know the negative groups and the positive vibes out there. You also need to be a little cautious about that and ensure that you listen to positive thoughts while taking the negative feedback and negative thoughts with a pinch of salt. Okay. And seek help, take a break when required. I'm not saying seek help from us, I'm saying seek help from whoever can help you, but ensure that the person you choose to help you is really worthy of it, not someone who's negative and has only negative things to add to us, but someone who's balanced, who's been there, yes, or who can be just there for you. Okay? Stay true to yourself. If is not the question, when is the question, and let the school decide.
Everyone
I'm
will
hoping,
reach there. Everyone will reach there. Just don't worry. Be patient.
yes,
Everyone will get in. People get in after 2 cycle, 3 cycle, 4 cycle, but they are still applying. That's what it matters. And schools do notify them that how
correct.
consistent you were and how much you want this. So just don't worry. Even if you are second time applicant, third time applicant, it doesn't matter. You just have to know what you want, and you are doing hard work for that. That's it.
Yeah, that's a perfect ending, Dr. Akshita. Thank you.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
see you next at the next webinar. Thanks a lot, Akshita, for coming, sparing time. I know classes have begun and it must be really crazy the first 6 months.
Yeah,
So,
it's crazy.
yeah, you'll survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much. All the best, everyone.